Guys, Bitcoin is currently struggling with the $107,000 mark and has even broken through a local support level to the downside, followed by a small retest. We'll also see how things develop from here. We're also looking at all of this on the liquidation heat map because all the way down to $105,000, there are quite a few positions that could now be triggered. Even a bit further down, right? There's still quite a lot accumulated there as well. We'll go through all of that. What's really interesting is the big trader I mentioned in the last video. He goes by James Vine, who had an open long position worth 1.2 billion US dollars. He has now realized a loss of 13 million US dollars. At least that's what it says on X, but don't trust everything that's shared, because if you look at it yourself under completed trades, if you click up here, you'll see that the day before he realized partial profits of nearly 16.9 million US dollars. So overall, he still made a few $1,000,000 in profit. And I haven't seen that on X until now, except for the time I shared it. And if we look now, it's already 410,000 US dollars in profit again. I've been watching this position since it was about 100,000 US dollars in profit. At one point, it was already at 1.1 million. So that's how quickly it goes up and down because of the 40x leverage he has in there. This position is also 377 million US dollars in size. So really crazy, this guy. I'm very curious to see how this will continue. Maybe he knows something more. Does he have any insider information or something like that, which makes him say he's actually going short now? But we'll take a detailed look at all of this, okay? This is my Ethereum position now. We'll go through all my positions, including trading bots. But with Ethereum on my 100x position, I've already taken profits twice. Why did I do that? I'll show you on the chart, and I've also scaled in twice. Once here and once here. I want to quickly show you that as a brief update on Ethereum. And that has something to do with my key levels here. You can see it here. I have my key level up here and this green box down below. I started scaling in here, actually even in this area. I took profits here after I saw the rejection. Then I scaled in again in this area after I saw a rejection at the support here. And after this rejection up here, I took profits again. And no matter where we go now, right? If we go further down, I'll scale in again. If we go up here, I'll watch again to see if we finally break above this level, hopefully. And it would be so important for us to break exactly this level. And as soon as we find support here, I'll scale my position again. And this is exactly the level we have, which is super interesting, just like in the last part when we were so far down after we broke through to the upside here. And that's what I want to show you, exactly this level. A quick retest, and after that, it continued parabolically. So I would be prepared for exactly such a scenario here as well if we actually manage to do that. What would be ideal for me now is if we take a look at the Ethereum liquidation heat map. I think you can see that well on a weekly chart. We have it at around $2,400 if I'm not mistaken. Where is that, this area? At 2,436, we have a lot of liquidity. And I might use exactly this price range to scale my position slightly to see if we can hold this price area, and maybe catch the upswing there. That would be super interesting if I scale my position again somewhere around here, and at least according to my theory, can ride this price range for this reversal and add a good amount of profit to the position here. Now let's move on to Bitcoin. As I said, I still have my positions open in Bitcoin, even if we take a look here. So I don't have them in US dollars, but I do have some in US dollars that are waiting to be picked up. If we look at the coin margin, I also have a 2x position there. I also took some profits there in the meantime. Currently, that's 1,800 US dollars in realized profit and just under 500 US dollars still open. You can see here that on the way up, I kept taking profits step by step, and now I'm waiting for a reversal once it hits 100,000. Why? For what reason? We can take another look at that because in the 2-week range of the liquidation heat map, there's still a super interesting level for me. And I'll show you something on the chart as well to explain why that could be interesting. But precisely this price range, if we actually reach it, then I want to be ready here so I can scale in again. But not just that. No, I'm also going to take one at 105,000 US dollars, where I mentioned earlier that I would scale into a position again right here, because this position is actually current. Here it is. No, sorry, here it is. I entered that one at just under $86,000, which is super ideal. And the Ethereum position has already realized 3,145 and is still 3,500 in profit. Here, I'm still waiting a bit to see exactly what happens in the market before I really scale in properly, but that's also what I said. If we break through to the upside here and get a confirmation, then I'll also start to double this coin margined position down here again, yeah? Then I'd have about 40,000 US dollars in the position, and that would of course get really interesting if we then continue to move up parabolically. Otherwise, the trading bots, currently the new trading bot, which, as I always say in the videos, yes, it currently has a small loss, but that's not a problem at all, right? Because it's just been opened. It's only been open for 5 days. It usually takes about 1 or 2 weeks in some cases before you start seeing ongoing profits here. And you can see that here, for example, this one has been open for a longer period. Even though it currently has an unrealized loss of almost $40, the overall profit shown on the site is already $250. And here as well, $150. For those who aren't familiar with these videos, I'll link them again at the end. A complete tutorial, a playlist, 3 videos. Take a look at that. Super interesting. They've been bringing me profits for over a year now. Let's continue now with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, really interesting. We can see this struggle here with this small retest. Well, it's not quite a full retest. But this price range that I've marked here is very, very interesting to me because we had resistance here in the past. Let's take a closer look at this here. Then we went down again here, and after the breakout, liquidity was pushed once more, but overall we definitely stayed above it. That means this zone was an active trading zone. After that, there was support here again and support here again. And currently at this moment, a candle has actually closed below it, and this candle could keep us below for now. But I see this as just a short-term correction. We still have this ascending trend that we can see here. That means, where are we heading? To around 103,000, 104,000, depending on how long it takes. That could fit very well again with this price range where we have the liquidity, because it doesn't mean that we'll see an immediate reversal exactly at this cluster, but rather that we'll continue to go lower. You saw that on eForum where I mentioned the 2,400 US dollars. Take a close look there. Maybe you still remember where that was, because we actually went even further down after that. You can't see it in this area now, but we actually went a bit further down here, even after that cluster at 2,400 US dollars. That was in this area. So this is where the cluster was. We went down again, even as far as 2,312, and then recovered. For everyone who took a position, I hope you at least took some profits. If not, you can still do it now. I closed that one position I opened with you guys in this area because I'm still a bit wary of Bitcoin, that it might actually keep dropping and see even lower prices. And just like that, according to the Liquidation Heatmap, I would open a new position in eForum at around 2,436, roughly at 2,400 again. We'll see exactly where that ends up being. With Bitcoin, we have a price range where this is a target price. I want to introduce this trading strategy to you in one of the next videos. Super interesting. From 99,000 to 101,000 US dollars. And that would again, as I mentioned earlier, fit with this liquidation area down here. Why this is the target price, I'll really explain to you in the next videos. Super interesting. At least I've marked that out once. But beforehand, I really still see the support and very, very strong support here in this volume area, where we also had consolidating action the whole time before we broke out upwards and reached new highs. I've actually already taken a small short trade now. My longer trade, hey, is currently a short trade at 106,000. I have it on Bitunix and it will stay open. I'll also be compounding it. But here I've already taken a small one. You can see here, because with this pattern, we actually had a retest. I took advantage of this retest after the rejection, and in the next hourly candle, my take profit price, which I had set exactly at this level, was actually hit. Hey, I'll also explain this again with the trading strategy that I'm going to show you. So I went short here, took profit here, and that was actually the perfect candle, even if it goes down again. But that was just a small scalp in between on Friday. That was super, super interesting. And at this point in time, we just mustn't forget, we're doing it now. Up here, we had a strong consolidation and then suddenly started making lower highs, a new low. We haven't broken through this here yet. As long as we don't break through this, the last strong low, it's still rather a good sign. But we're starting to make lower lows and lower highs here. With the exception of this one, that wasn't yet, but now if we include this as a larger move, we've actually managed to make a new small lower low. Of course, this could continue to develop and we could keep moving further down. Maybe with this broadening wedge that we have, which is spreading out here, we might actually reach this price area. And take a look at this. If I zoom out like this, you can see where this price area would be with the VPVR. And I might be willing to accept that with the position I already have open in a short on Bitunix so that I can take profits here if I see that we get a rejection at this point. But this is the largest volume area we have here, which fits perfectly one-to-one with this support line. And as long as we, at the current moment, and that's this white line we have up here, don't break above it, this is currently our downward trend resistance line, as long as we don't break through it, I wouldn't be too bullish, because that would just keep confirming lower highs for us, and of course that could actually bring us down here. And here I would really, really be very careful about how things proceed. That's 103,000, almost 104,000. And there on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, if I go back to the 1 week view again, it's always important to include this when you're analyzing. Where are the 103,000 located? And that would be this price range where there is actually still a cluster, maybe even with a quick wick downwards. so that we really pick up everything that's in there. So what would this price range be? That would even go into this price range. That would be these candlesticks here. So that means if I saw it the same way with the liquidation heat map, these candlesticks actually mark the end of the liquidation zone that we have below. We also shouldn't forget that the further we go down, the fewer liquidations we have lying below, because the people who are long here and have their liquidations set here might gradually close their positions before their liquidations are fully triggered here. Despite all that, don't forget, things can move quickly, drop down or shoot up, because up here, the 113,000 is really interesting to me. And I'm honestly looking forward to us reaching exactly this area, because it definitely won't remain untouched. And then we'd have a new all-time high and maybe even more bullish momentum. But we'll get into that in more detail later on when the time comes. The data really speaks for itself. BlackRock simply accumulated on Thursday. On Thursday still. After my video, that was actually updated again. So not just BlackRock, but in general, the ETFs, 934 million in Bitcoin and 110 million in Ethereum. That means over $1 billion flowed in on Thursday, and then on Friday, almost 270 million more came in. If we look at who invested the most, it's actually pretty clear. BlackRock actually invested almost 900 million in Bitcoin alone. That's crazy, isn't it? And here, 430 million actually just from Bitcoin alone. So it's really crazy that BlackRock is stepping on the gas like this. That's really intense. While others were selling off, BlackRock just pumped another 430 million in. That means they've accumulated 1.2 billion in Bitcoin in just 2 days. Really, really crazy. And that should be a sign that this bull market is definitely not over, but that we might just be seeing a short correction. Leave a like. Hey, we'll see each other in the next video, and leave a comment too. See you next time. Bye bye.